Hey everybody, it's Chris Dortch coming to you from the live from the CFF boiler room, aka my office, aka the basement where I literally live, to have a conversation about a project I'm extremely excited about with two people I'm extremely excited to be chatting with about this project. And honestly, it probably requires a little bit of preamble in terms of like let me just put it this way, and without getting too sentimental or mushy on you, one of the true joys of my job is coming into contact with people that I just know that they're a part of my tribe and that they just get what we're trying to do here. And Wolf, one of the very first people that I think really just latched onto this festival in the like all the best ways was you. You honestly came along at a period of my life when I really was just like, do you want to do this anymore, Chris? Why do you do this to yourself every year? And you just continued to champion the work and the films, and you kind of become part of our extended family where you remain for many years now. But it's been such a joy to watch you take the journey into becoming a filmmaker. And there's a little bit of also selfishness here in that this project began its life, if I'm not mistaken, here as part of our screenwriting pitch competition that Dave Lawson has often done for us, the official mayor of CFF. Although it might be time for a special election, I'm not here to comment on that. But yeah, so I just wanted to first of all say thank you for taking a moment to chat about this, and you'll all see kind of why we wanted to have this conversation, because this is something a little unusual. We don't really often have an opportunity to get a look behind the curtain of a piece of work that is in progress. And I know this is kind of you guys in the trenches right now, and along with what Darren Bozeman and Josh are doing with their live podcast this year, we think there's a lot of things this year that could give you a little inspiration to go out and create your own projects. And we'd also love to drum up a little more, buzz and maybe a few thousand more dollars for your budget here, if we can do that. So by the end of this, I'm going to have you guys fucking call our telethon number that Dustin, you're plugging in an elaborate animation for right now below me, right? You made that, right? That was on the list of stuff. But yeah, so long story short, this project, Giving Up the Ghost, now where I first became aware of it was that pitch competition. But what I'd love to know first is, what is the origin of this project? How did this story first come to you? And how did you prepare to pitch?
This started pre-pandemic, but really kind of solidified during pandemic. And I had been thinking a lot about toxic relationships, and
as we all did during the pandemic.
Yeah. And how breaking the cycle of abuse and breaking the cycle of toxicity is very difficult. And I also was thinking about just how you regain your agency during those kind of things. And in terms of the project, was sitting on my porch one day. I was smoking a cigar, and the phrase "giving up the ghost" just popped into my head. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," as it pertains to the project. Fast forward, I didn't pitch this at the pitch competition. I pitched "Dream of Drowning,"
Right,
which then got me involved with Dave in kind of a bigger way. And I think I can talk a little bit more about this now.
Yeah, please let me know. Like, you can just give me a baseball signal if I'm talking about anything you don't want to talk about. Yeah, just just ears and nose wiggles, whatever. Yeah, the brim of the cap, perfect.
So we tried to get Dream of Drowning made, and Chris, they don't like to give a lot of money to first-time feature directors.
Is that true?
Yeah. It's like wild.
What a bunch of it's like short-sighted assholes. That's all
right,
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
but then Dave said, "How would you like to make a movie anyway?" And without kind of getting into the guts of that, this opportunity to make really anything I wanted to came about, and I pitched a few different things. The first thing I pitched was a Krampus Christmas musical, horror themed musical. I also pitched Drop Dead Fred meets Sidekicks called My Pet Wrestler.
Holy shit. Let's just let that breathe for just a moment, please. As a lifelong Fred head, I have to say. So, but yeah, that's amazing.
And then it kind of became, Ashley and I had wanted to make this as a short that was going to be kind of a proof of concept for a little while. And it just made sense. Like, it was the thing that was pretty self-contained, and at the time I thought small enough to do on a relative budget, and thinking, okay, we have some rules in place, we can crowdfund, which was going to be kind of our bread and butter, so to speak. And so but I pitched the idea to Ashley, and maybe Ash, maybe you can talk a little bit about from Jump Street.
Love to know when you came on board, the process, and if you want to talk a bit about what you guys did together, because you've worked so closely throughout this entire project.
Yeah, so Wolf and I met. What has it now been, like 13 years or something? 12
Holy
or
shit, that's awesome! Yeah,
yeah. I auditioned for her. She posted a casting notice on Craigslist, and I was like, it was kind of early in my acting career. I was still looking at Craigslist for casting notices. And I was like, this could be like really weird, or it could be something. And so I was like, yeah, can I, send in a tape? And she sent me the whole script. I think the whole feature script. And I was like, oh shit, this is really good. I was not expecting that. And it was this movie called Terms, which she cast me in. Fantastic story. Had the whole cast. We did like a whole table read in person, and we were like ready to make this movie, but didn't have any funding. And so over the years was like, we wanted to keep working. We wanted to work together to make something. And we made a couple of shorts. And we did this short in 2017 or 18 called Guilt Girl. And Wolf put together like a night of shorts, horror shorts led by women filmmakers or femme filmmakers. And we did this whole screening, which was awesome. It's how I got actually first exposed to some of the filmmakers that I like have gotten to meet in the last year on the festival circuit, which was super cool. But at the end, we did this Q&A, and someone asked Wolf, like, what's next? And she started pitching this story, Giving Up the Ghost, started talking about this. And we had just started talking about it. Like, she had just told me about it, like, after we had wrapped Guilt Girl. And I was on board immediately. It was like, yes, obviously, like I was at the time coming out of an abusive relationship, and Wolf had just recently gotten out of an abusive relationship. And so we had bonded a lot over that on the set. I mean, I think there was a day on set where I like was up for Guilt Girl, where I was like supposed to cry, and I was like bawling, like it just came so easily. And she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, holding up my phone, like, my life.
God, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No, it's great. It was so healthy. No, I joke about that, but honestly, it was very cathartic to put it somewhere.
No, it's sure.
And then to talk about like making this, and she knew it was a feature the whole time, but we didn't think we could make it a feature. That's why we were going to make a proof of concept short and like try to, see what we could do with it. But the story, it was kind of hard to contain in a short, like we weren't, she had the idea of what scene we could use for that short. But
so that's the shape it took. It was a single scene that you were planning on using as that proof of concept, or did you really like?
At one point,
yeah,
we weren't going to compress the movie. Like we weren't going to compress, right? Wolf's
sure.
Yeah, I mean it was. Oh, here's this like 3 scenes that can actually stand alone as a short film that are also would be a part of the film. And really, like they were, what inevitably happened is that they were rearranged and truncated, and like 2 people became 1 person, and that like that was kind of how it was for the final version, or the final script anyway.
Yeah, so it was essentially from like 20. I can't remember what year exactly, but it felt like every year we would come back to this. Like we would have a conversation, like, are you ready to make it? Like, let's make it. And then like life would get in the way, or there was some obstacle there, was, and so
it should be pointed out that in the interim, you all are still finding opportunities to work together, and that Wolf, of course, you did some incredibly disgusting, and I mean that with the most love and warmth in my heart, effects for Ashley's incredible short film Like Me, which did play just last year and has had an incredible run on the festival circuit too. So I love that you guys have constantly been finding these ways to work together in that project too. I just had to give it some love for a second.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to. Like, also, when I had that idea, Wolf was the first person I talked to about doing Like Me, the short, and was like, obviously, like, I can't do this without you. So
right.
If you want to do it, we can make it. But let's make something, and that really was also inspired by like being at CFF and meeting all the filmmakers and talking to people and all of these independent filmmakers who were, just doing whatever they could and like cutting corners or like being really creative with the funds that they did have to make things happen. And so it was really inspiring. And I had kind of put away acting for a couple of years before that, but was like, shit, I miss it. Like we have to make something. So then when it came through that we were going to really make Giving Up the Ghost, it's like, oh shit. All right. We're going to fucking do it.
And you didn't just do it, you went for it. And let's talk a bit about that pre-production process and even some of the swings you took that I think are fantastic and I would love to see more filmmakers do. And I'm thinking of something like involving Julian Baker, on your music, which I think is just a master stroke of an idea. Is that something that fell through? Is that the okay, good.
No.
You had an expression I couldn't read there and I was like, damn it, Chris. Like
No. Julian is one of my best friends in the world. And we have been trying to find an opportunity to work together for a long time. And it's always weird to have a profoundly famous friend who you are
sure.
you're then like, hey, I'm kind of thinking you might do this one thing, and her being like, oh yeah, absolutely, I'd love to do that. And then that kind of became like more involvement and, I guess I can definitely talk about this. Like she's doing a full cover of a song for the film, which is huge for us.
I won't ask you what song yet because I feel like you don't want to say, and I don't want to make you say.
No,
but yeah.
I think this is a good opportunity that I can say.
Oh, good. Scoops, y'all, scoops.
Yeah.
Digging them out.
She's doing a cover of I Think We're Alone Now. Which
my God.
Yeah,
incredible.
It figured in really heavily into our film. And like the logistics of all of that is very complicated, as I'm sure you know.
Sure.
And we're still figuring out a lot of the inner workings and details, but it's very exciting. I've heard a rough version of it. It's very good. It actually appears in the sizzle for a moment. And so, yeah, it's been an incredible experience to have her on board. I would be absolutely lying if I said that it didn't help us meet our goal for the Kickstarter. It absolutely did. But the other thing about that is it brought a whole new fan base to our film. I mean,
sure.
Julian's fans and Boy Genius fans have kind of been so wonderful and kind. I talk to a lot of them, on a semi-regular basis. And they're very stoked on the film. They of course they're excited about Julian's music, as we all are, but yeah, they're like really excited to find out, more about the film and they ask about the process and they ask about production and a lot of them are very young. So it's been an interesting thing to see so many young people like want to know more about the filmmaking process and how this kind of thing comes to be. And it's the kind of thing that like I was really interested in as, a younger
sure.
film fan, music fan, so it's been a really incredible thing. And yeah, it was definitely an opportunity. I appreciate you saying big swing. I mean, it certainly was. And it's definitely it's been a process. It remains a process, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing is like Ghost is a lot of big swings.
Right.
And
it's a collection of big swings. Like, yeah, absolutely.
And there was absolutely no reason to do this if I wasn't prepared to take some big swings.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And along those lines, and I love hearing that you're having other young film fans approach you about the process of it, and that you're getting to share that side of it. And one of the reasons why I'm so grateful to you for, sitting down with me now and having a chat about this is it's rare that someone in the orbit of the festival, we really do get to check in with you through multiple points along this journey. And now you guys have put so much effort, so much time into this, that it's really starting to take shape in a very fascinating and very cool way. And I'm really excited for the world to kind of get a chance to, and also I'm really grateful to you for letting us show a bit of that sizzle reel that you mentioned tonight and talking about it. But I know you guys, shot right here in Chattanooga, or not in Chattanooga, but, here in Tennessee. And I know also that a few other alumni of the festival, shout out Ronald, who's also playing another film this year, were a part of your crew. I'd love to know how you kind of assembled your co-conspirators. Obviously, we talked a little bit about your origin story with Ashley, but every indie project is made with a skeleton crew. How did you put your skeletons together?
A lot of super glue.
Yeah, we know all about super glue, my friend. So,
but no, Joe Galizia, who plays the ghost in our film, I met Joe the same time I met Ashley.
Incredible.
Joe also submitted for the film that I was trying to make, and just another person. We all hit it off so well during that time we spent together and doing the table read, and it was just like, oh, I have to work with these people at some point.
So not to interrupt you, Wolf, but can I ask, were these roles then, since you'd had that experience of hitting it off, were these written so much with them in mind, or was that not a thing?
I mean, the lead role was definitely written with Ashley in mind. It always had been. Joe doesn't often get to play this kind of character. Like Joey is like the affable, like very fun-loving, goofy guy. And so when I pitched it to him, hey, I want you to be in this. And he's like, oh, cool. What do you got? And I said, I want you to play the villain. I want you to play the ghost. And he was like, oh, okay. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then Ronald's also an interesting casting, because the part was very much conceived as like dude bro, very like, alpha kind of guy, and like no shade on Ronald at all. Ronald's just like your best bud, and like, is just so kind of like sweet and caring. And so when he reached out to me and said, hey bud, like, and I've known Ronald for, gosh, I don't actually remember how we met. I think it was through another filmmaker, Joshua Hull. But we have been friends for years, very much supported each other. And we've always wanted to work together. And he said, hey, do you have anything? And it just like, it clicked. I was like, oh my God, having Ronald in this role is going to bring just a whole different, it was just a different vibe, a different, I love seeing him in the teaser. Honestly, there's just a vibe. You meet certain people and that they are for you and that you want to be friends with them. And I'm not just saying that because, as you know, Ashley, I believe that Ronald's hat and glasses game are off the charts. And it was great to see that pink thing hat. And I was like, yeah, this is Wolf's movie. This is great. But yeah, love. Go ahead. And that's the thing. Like that's the thing. He, he's like, oh, what should I wear? I'm like, what you have, like you. I want Ronald. And it's like certainly there's a little bit of like a broy kind of thing. But that's added, because that's just not Ronald at all. But it's the sweetness and the, gosh, you're rooting for this guy. That's Ronald, like I don't know that I root for anybody in my film circle more than I root for that guy, because he is one of the most talented filmmakers I've ever met. And yeah,
I don't know if Body is out anywhere where people can watch it online, but like we have to just time out for a second and tell you to go find Body if it's on YouTube. Hopefully it is. It's somewhere that people can watch it. It's such a delight. Yeah.
And all of his work is like that. It's all
it is. Yes.
fun. And, he did a web series called Weekend Plans. He's got Tegan and His Buds out now,
which we're really happy to be sharing as part of this year as well. So,
yeah. So definitely somebody to seek out if you are watching this and aren't familiar with his work. But it was kind of kismet from there. And then Ashley's best friend in the film, Courtney. Courtney was another like a local Nashville actor who I met getting to just collaborate with people in the area, and it just kind of clicked. It was like, oh, this is the person to embody this kind of witchy, kind of spooky role, and also
right.
I could see these two people being best friends, and I think everybody really came together in a beautiful way.
I'm glad to hear that. Also, some other alumni we should probably shout out. Part of the crew. I know we got Corey Simpson in there. We love Corey. Corey wrote our food guide, of course, which you could still check out and get some great recommendations. And that's just the kind of person that Corey is. Corey pitched that to us. Like, hey, you need to tell people where to go when they're in town. And it's been really great. Just kind of like my origin story with you, Wolf, where it was like one day Corey turned up to a screening and I couldn't even tell you which one. And I kind of feel like he never left, and I love feeling that way about people. So it's really cool that that's well good. I'm glad I put it in a way that sounded like that. Fucking wheel that back. Dustin, where are you with the post-production? But no, I really I love that you created this kind of family. Obviously every little indie project has a film family a bit, but it really does feel like the case here. Oh, hey, I see that you're plugging Rustic merch though. Hopefully they're giving you kickbacks for that shit, Wolf, because if not, fuck those guys. But it's
true, right? Like, it's like, you make films with your friends. I mean, like, I don't ever want to make something without people that I get along with. And like, it's like anything else. I want to be your friend before I want to, work with you,
Yeah. Why the hell would you want to be surrounded? Again, like, you're making a film about, toxic relationships. You don't want to be surrounded by an entire set full of them. So it's great to know that something, based in so much personal catharsis really got to have that kind of environment as you were putting it together.
And I will say real quick about, Corey got kind of thrown into an impossible role, like a very difficult role as assistant director. And it was not an easy shoot, and I mean, for all of the curveballs, Corey.
Let's dial down into that really quick. Yeah. What's the duration of the shoot, just to give folks some context?
15 days.
Wow. Yeah. So
it was 14 down to 13 because we lost a whole day.
Yeah.
Right.
And then down to 11 because we had 2 days off.
Wow.
So, I mean, we shot 90% of a feature film in 10 days. And
somewhere Roger Corman's ghost is like giving you a fucking thumbs up. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope, and I think that we were successful in that. I'm very proud of what we've shot and what we've put together so far. There's still a road ahead, but I wouldn't recommend it. Like, that's not.
And it was almost entirely overnights. There were maybe 2 daylight shoots. Everything else was overnight. So we, and we were very low budget, like staying with you. Like I had 40 stuff on the couch when Ronald was in town because Ronald was in the guest room. Like we had, which was great for like building that relationship, I think, where we had to spend a lot of time together. And it comes across that we have like this like very cute little chemistry on screen because we were comfortable with each other. But yeah, the shooting 2 weeks of overnights, like you want to be there with your friends because especially like, there were some hard nights. So we went later than we thought we were going to often. We were working hard and we were tired, but we were all passionate about it. And if we hadn't been, I think like it would have been we would not have gotten the footage that I have seen that looks fucking phenomenal.
It's worth pointing out, probably, I know there's effects in the mix of what you guys are doing too. So it's like trying to pull off these, I'm sure in every case possible with you, Wolf, practical kinds of things. I know that on even a longer shoot, that's a nightmare. So was there anything from that standpoint that was particularly challenging to approach?
Time.
Or, the answer is all of it. I know. But
yeah,
like,
I mean, it's really time,
sure.
Our effects crew, I mean, they worked really tirelessly, and, I mean, there are just times where you look at a thing and you're like, we have to shoot this. Like, we have to shoot now. Like, there's not really an option to roll this back or tweak or that kind of thing. But Matt Scott, who was our lead makeup effects artist, and Michael Combs, and we had a few other hands here and there. David Worley was another one who he was a student. I do want to talk about kind of our crew as well. But David was a student who
that's awesome.
He blew us away. I mean, like, he just came on and was like, I'll do whatever. And was honestly, like, hearing that name, you should all go look him up and look at like his Instagram and see the kind of stuff he's doing, because it is spectacular. But yeah, they were just up against the clock every day. And as an effects artist myself, one of the main things that I tried to provide them was time. And some days we just didn't hit the mark. It was just like, okay, well, we have, there is no backwards, there's no rewind button. We've got to go forward. So, but yeah, just to, I do want to mention the crew briefly. My mentor is a filmmaking professor, and I go every semester and I speak to his film class. And if I'm working on something, I offer, for them to come on board. And this was kind of a big opportunity. And one of the things that really interested the powers that be was that we were going to try to have a mostly student crew, which we did.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a certainly a learning experience for everybody, myself included. But by and large, I mean, those kids really busted their asses and really, were there. And I mean, they stuck around for the long days. And like my mentor Eddie would say, listen, this is the business. Like, what you want to do as filmmaking students, this is like, it doesn't change at a certain budget level. Like, obviously astronomical budgets, yes, but like, for a lot of us, it is long days, and we're working ourselves into dust, and and so yeah, I think it was beneficial for everybody, but a really interesting and cool experience for sure.
You also talk about, obviously things do shift on the larger budget levels, but my experience, at least in putting the programming for this festival together over the last decade, is that especially with people like, and we'll bring Rustic up again, Aaron and Justin. The very first time those guys were on my radar was with a film called Resolution, when we were still doing pop-ups in any bar, restaurant, or abandoned building that they hadn't turned the electricity off in yet. And watching, it feels to me like people who know how to do it with a shoestring, by the time they actually get some money in their hands, that it does feel like their whole style has kind of evolved. Is there anything that you would love to pull off for this that just feels like financially unreachable? I want to know also, because I'm gently trying to con everyone who's watching into giving you a lot of money, so we can get this bad boy finished up for you the way you want it to be.
Yeah. We lost the biggest stunt in our film.
Did you?
Yeah, we got.
Do you want to talk about that, or is it like a too soon situation?
No, it's certainly something that's worth talking about, because by hook or by crook, we have to do it again.
Right?
We're gonna figure it out, but we flipped a car,
wow.
and so there's like two accidents that are in the film. Both are difficult to pull off. both were supposed to happen on the night that we were shooting them. And I don't mind kind of telling the full story.
Please, yeah, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, we were shooting at a marina that we had kind of had closed down. We rented out the whole thing. And there was like a very long stretch of road that had the perfect woods on either side. And it was just like, okay, this is great. We can stage the accidents on this road. And we had a wrecker service come out. At first they were really great. And they plugged, all of the holes in the car so nothing would leak, and they took out all the fluids and everything. And it was like really great. And then they flipped the car. Somebody radioed, okay, the car's flipped. And so I get out to where the car has been flipped, and the wrecker tells me, you've got 15 minutes. And I said, excuse me?
It was like starting to sprinkle.
Yeah. And he said, we don't work in the rain. And wow. I'm just like, you're a wrecker. That's kind of your whole deal. But so I had a moment that I needed to step back, and my producer stepped in. And it was just madness. Because the set had not been dressed, the first
15 minutes is nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. The first half was this whole dream sequence, and there needed to be like tarps and lights and like things hanging. And so we tried, and we shot something, but we can't use it. It is right. A thing, like everything worked against us, and it's just like, listen, we have to keep trying. We have to keep trying. And in this instance, it didn't work out. It's heartbreaking. I'm heartbroken about it. I think about it a lot.
Good. I'm glad I made you talk about it.
No, not at all. Yeah. But it is, what I think we will come back with after, once we get to shoot it again, is something obviously better, because we did it once and we know what to do different.
Hire a guy who can fucking stand in the rain for one thing.
Yeah. Or like sit in a car, or
we had a trailer that we offered them, like with electricity, that they could sit in and be comfortable while we were fine working in the rain. And they were like, no, we're not going to do that.
Man, fuss butts. I don't like them.
So when we talk about, okay, budget and like what we have to do, I mean, that's not, I'm not wiggling on this. Like we will shoot that. We will find a way. But otherwise, I think, and Ashley, you can, speak to this as well. I think like everything that's in the script, we did. And there's some ambitious stuff. There is the whole last.
I think that's clear from the sizzle even. Yeah.
The whole last part of the third act is just a big fight through a house. And we found the perfect location, and it's fucking brutal. Like, it is a brutal fight, and it is exactly kind of what I had imagined. And Ashley and Joey just gave it everything that they had, and it was definitely one of those things that like I did not expect us to get it. I didn't think like we're gonna get like really? Well, in pre-production I was just like, I'm gonna have to make more concessions about this.
Right. It feels elaborate. Yeah, sure.
And then I didn't. Like I just didn't. Like I didn't have to do, like we had to tweak certain sequences, just because like we can't build a wall to put a body through, right. But we can tarp a doorway and put like wood planks and then throw somebody through that, like we can do that. And so it was like, also I need to mention our incredible stunt team, Caleb and Billy from Impact Fight Design. Like the most professional, like on top of it, caring, making sure that
love movies.
So that's a question I'd love to ask you. And again, not to keep interrupting you, but you keep saying things that I want to, kind of dial into a bit. So for a lot of filmmakers that are approaching making projects for themselves, how did you first contact your fight choreo or your stunt team? So it's like, to even know how to do that as a filmmaker making your first feature, I would love to know how that, because you obviously said about doing it safe and the right way as much as you could on the budget budget that you had. I'd love to know how they came on board or how you even discovered they existed and reached out.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that this is is maybe a teaching moment of, if you are listening to this or watching this and you are a filmmaker who wants to do this kind of thing, go work on every set. Like work on every set that you can, because Caleb and Billy I met on another set and I was just so impressed with the work that they were doing. And I just kind of like lightly pitched it to him. I was like, hey, I'm kind of thinking about doing this thing. And we had already been greenlit. And so it was like, I'm probably going to need some, I'm definitely going to need some fight designs. And I had shown up to set wearing a Monster Squad shirt, and like they immediately, like both of them, like jumped on that, and they like that. So it was like, oh, okay, these guys are my people, like immediately. But just watching them work and thinking like, okay, they know what they're doing. They're doing it safely. They're doing it with a level of care that you don't normally see on sets at this budget level. Just very professional. And I love the cross section of professional and fun.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah. And it's like, if you can have fun with somebody and like be cutting up and having a good time and then immediately jump into, okay, we got to get this done. I would say that thing actually made up most of our crew, is like that cross section is there in a big way. So yeah, working on other sets has allowed me to meet a lot of the people who worked on this, or if not worked on this, it can recommend somebody who, it's just building your circle,
Right.
And Chris, I have to say, none of this, and meaning a lot of the crew and a lot of it, would be possible without you in the festival.
Well, don't make me cry yet, because we still have some time. But
it's absolutely true, and like I started coming to the festival the year that I got sober, and it was a huge positive thing for me. And it was like, okay, this is a place that I have to come to every year. And it reignited my love of film. It gave me the confidence to do my first sober project. And
that's so great, man. That's so awesome.
I'm getting to do this film because of the festival. So like,
And honestly, all this has ever been is just like feeling so adrift in the world and really trying to like create that flame that pulls in, if I'm lucky, a few moths like you. So that really does mean a lot. Please know that. But yeah, it's cool to watch those little things happen when they get to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very cool. And so go to the festivals, go like build your film circuit, like build your friends, build your family, I mean, it's
we always have people ask us, and Ashley can attest to this year, how they can network at the festival. And it's like, I just want to be like, don't go and be as authentically yourself as you can, and someone is going to latch onto that, and you're going to find yourself with an army of co-conspirators before you know it. And it's so rewarding to see that happen. So it's really cool, the group of folks you've put together. I'd love to talk about, obviously, there's still a road ahead on this project. What are your next steps for completing? Because you've had some time to put together this really incredible reel that we'll take a look at night. You've got more than, I think, an excellent proof of concept on your hands. You've got so much of this thing in the can. Where are you taking it next? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean,
I know that's a tough question. Sorry. Yeah,
it is. Ash and I have we got to sit down and watch all the footage together and kind of, look at what the road ahead looks like and
what do we need? What do we want? And how can we get there?
Yeah. And so, it's very much putting together a pretty loose budget, but having an idea of like, okay, we can probably do this for this amount, we can really do it for this amount, I mean, we can't really do a whole lot until we do some fundraising,
right.
So we do have to raise a little bit more money, but there's like, I mean, this the hope is that we can shoot this fall, and my director of photography, Jeff Wedding, every time I talk to him, he's like, man, we could just go out on the weekend and just start shooting stuff. And it's like,
I love a DP impression whenever I can get one too.
Yeah,
so thank you for that.
I have a story about Jeff that I will save for the premiere that includes a really great Jeff impression. It's I'm antsy now. I'm gonna be, I'll be completely honest. I'll be completely honest with you. My mental health from the time that shooting ended till about April of this year was in the toilet.
I completely understand. After the festival every year, I want to die. It feels like every bit of my purpose, every bit of rudder I felt like I had goes away for a while. So I truly feel your pain on that one. Yeah. And
thankfully I'm surrounded by people who really give a shit, not only about the film, but about me as a human being. And now I have renewed purpose. Like, I have a renewed flame about it. I'm excited.
Sure. And I've got to hope that things like seeing that sizzle reel come together. And I know, Ashley, I think I had a conversation with you the night that you got to see the footage, and your feeling of love for everything that you saw was absolutely palpable. So I hope that as you're seeing the fruits of what you've put together here, that is in and of itself something that helps you kind of wind your way along the road. But I'd love to know, anybody, how can folks help? What's the next step for you in making sure that budget happens? Is there going to be another crowdfunding section? Are you trying to find investors? How is it working right now? Because that fundraising side of it, and the realities of how difficult fundraising is. And this is a person who I could not tell you how we got 12 years of CFF done. Like, I don't feel like a particularly lucky person, so I don't know how the fuck it's happened, but it really is no joke to go out and make something of any real scale happen. So.
Yeah, I mean, I without kind of getting into the minutiae, I can say that we're much more grassroots than being able to find investors.
Right.
What I can say is that we do potentially plan to open up. One of the perks of the Kickstarter was that we did a vinyl. We did a 7-inch vinyl.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool. And we're currently working with Julian to hopefully be able to open that just a limited pre-order for just a standard black vinyl back up. And the hope is that we can include the cover as a B-side. So that's the hope. Right now,
there is almost no one I know that attends this festival that will not buy that record. Truly. So that's the best, potential thing you could have mentioned right now, for sure.
But I don't know, Ash, like in our conversations together, like what do you see the road forward for?
And again, I know that's like, I'm like, here, we've got an hour to talk. Let me ask you the most fucking difficult questions of your entire life.
Yeah, but, I'm really hoping that this reaches a very rich dentist who wants to be an executive producer. That's
got your Evil Dead shirt on for the dentist karma. You're ready. So,
no, we have we have a couple avenues open that we hope are going to come through. But again, that's like a lot of hope. Right. The record, I think, will, even if it doesn't have the B-side, there will be some other, I think, kind of way that we can increase the number of those that we had made available. So we know the Julian Baker fans are out there. I know that the Wolfe MacReady fans are out there.
Absolutely, we are.
Sorry, we
love a cat cameo. Do not apologize for cat cameos.
Yeah, they've been like knocking my laptop around. Yeah, I am also antsy to get it done. Like kind of like Jeff, honestly, it's like, I'm available. Like, let me know when, like, we can do this on the skeleton of the skeleton crew. We can do this on the sternum crew, sternum crew
represent. Yeah.
Get out there. we, I think, have to like nail down exactly, I guess, the priority of like what to shoot first, what do we have to have, and then if the money comes through, like what could we have. So I'm excited to share the sizzle reel, because the day that I went down to Murfreesboro to watch all this footage with Wolf, I was down there for like 8 hours or something. We watched basically almost everything that we shot, just like in tears. Like, it looks so good. And it had been about a year since we shot it. And so I had started worrying, like, I hadn't seen anything, like maybe it's bad, maybe, but not the case at all. So now that I've seen how good it is, and like, it's going to be a really cool fucking movie. I want to get it out there. So I'm excited to share this sneak peek, and also hopefully, reach some people who might be able to help us finish it out.
Yeah, and obviously, you all know that as that record comes available for pre-order, as there's a fundraising campaign, if there's anything we can do to share that, our audience is very much your audience. We know they're ready and waiting for this project, so it's just, anything we can do to help it, find a little more daylight, and hopefully find some more folks that are down to champion voices like yours, Wolf, and you, Ashley. I just think that, I think the world of you obviously already, but I just think this is such a cool piece of work, and I really want to do everything we can. And also, I really do appreciate your candor tonight. I know that none of this stuff, when you're struggling in the trenches to make a film, and hearing you talk about losing a day, like being a UPM on Jeremy Gardner's After Midnight shoot, I remember there was a night that our one generator died, and we're talking like 2 a.m, and any person other than Jeremy Gardner might have had a small aneurysm. Jeremy sat down, lit a cigarette, and started from memory reciting the Jurassic Park screenplay. So it's like, I really love seeing, people who do roll with the punches in such spectacular ways. And I feel like this is something that I know you guys are going to get a chance to complete. And I hope that obviously a much larger festival, hopefully higher up the top 40 list, gets to world premiere this project. But you do know that it has, fuck off. But you do know that it has a home here with us, I hope. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to be on the other side of the screen watching that want to fan those flames as well. So like, do let us be a part of the rest of this project on its journey.
It would be legitimately the biggest honor of my life, and it's such a cool full circle moment to premiere at CFF. So
then it's opening night. That just got fucking decided. So see how we do that? Like,
that's I'm very
that.
But seriously, it. So much of this has felt full circle already, and
sure, absolutely. Getting to have this conversation feels that way, Wolf. Truly,
yeah. I mean, just to come from where I was as a human being, then to now, it's tremendous, and I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful to know you. I'm thankful to have Ashley as one of my best friends in the entire world, and I'm really excited for what comes next.
Well, do you want to tell us a little bit about the reel that we're going to share tonight, or kind of tee it up? Or was there anything that you wanted to speak to that I did not mention? I'd love to open the floor to you and just give you an opportunity, because whether it be a crew member or a moment or anything.
I think, obviously, I hope we get a lot more opportunity during a premiere to talk a lot about the people involved with the film, but I'm incredibly thankful for everybody. This reel, it put the fire back in me to do this film. Getting to sit down and cut this was a big deal. I want to thank our colorist, Jasmine Gomez, who is
wow, that's awesome. The former CFF volunteer, coolest person in the world. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and has done a tremendous job with the color. Jeff Wedding, who shot it, but also has been working on the sound. And Emily Rink, who has worked on the effects for the sizzle. This is, you're getting the first look at the movie, and it is kind of, I won't say plea, but it is our very large yawp to say, hey, help us finish this fucking thing. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Ashley, do you have anything to say about it?
No, it feels like, and maybe my memory is colored, but watching the sizzle, it's like seeing the vision of what you were talking about in the audience at the Q&A for Guilt Girl. Like specifically this scene that opens the sizzle reel has always been a part of the movie, was like probably the first part that you pitched me on. It has not really changed, this conversation between me and Ronald Short. And seeing that, like, before, you know, it's not the whole sizzle reel, but opening the sizzle reel is just like, you know, like that meme, I almost forgot this is the whole point or whatever. This is what it's all about. Like, it's just,
right. It's about the friends we made along the way. So, yeah.
Just seeing it come to be the way that you described it is really, really powerful.
It's a really wild ass thing to have something be born in your imagination and then to see it breathe. And that is so much of why we do this, and so much of why I've devoted my whole weird, dumb life to sharing stories from folks like you, who I just think the world of the voices that you have. So let's get this project finished, folks. I selfishly very much like to see it. And unless there's anything else that y'all would like to say, let's tee up the sizzle reel and let people take a look at your hard work.
Really appreciate you not making me go back to Rhinestones. I don't think I could stand watching my friend completely abandon me in a sea of women like that anymore.
Not much of a ladies' man yourself there, Roy?
Oh, I mean, I am. I just, you know.
Okay, I get it. Bars suck. People aren't much better.
Well, you did invite me to a bar, and I am, in fact, a people.
Oh, you seem all right. You did pull me out of the street.
Yeah, about that. Do you happen to make a habit of strolling out into traffic?
I tripped.
You tripped. Hell of a way to trip. One foot in front of the other like that. Okay, don't want to talk about it. Got it. What's that?
So, this is Vincent.
Well, hi, Vincent. It's nice to meet you.
No, mustn't talk to him.
Why not?
Because he's just a doll. Not a doll, a totem.
What's a totem?
You see, Roy, if you believe strongly enough in something, you can put intention into all kinds of things. They become totems.
You put intention in something small like that?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do when it's full of intentions?
Simple. We purge it.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I'll be here.
Today, while going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go away. Today, while going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go away. Today, while going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go away. Today, while going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go away. Today, while going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go away. Today, while going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. While going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. While going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go today. While going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go today. While going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go today. While going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Think we're alone now. Doesn't
seem to be anyone